Amanda is up.
Okay, so Julie, you totally failed me. This is not that organized. I tried, but, okay. I'll just give you like the, okay. So, good morning. I'm Amanda Conley Ayers. I'm a graduate of the very first MAPP program. And since that time, I've been thinking about this issue and the intersection of politics, government, and well-being. And so the reason this is important to me is because growing up in New England and working in academia and having political beliefs that are just a little bit different from everyone else's, you realize that tolerance doesn't always extend to your political beliefs, and so you have like three choices when you're about to have an important political conversation. One, you can avoid the conversation by pretending you're busy. This is very effective. Two, you can participate but keep your opinion to yourself, which is much easier said than done. Or you can jump in there and have the conversation and try to change minds and face the consequences. Having done this before, I found out very quickly that I need to do something better with the way I'm having these conversations because they're not being very effective. In fact, I'm damaging friendships. And that question's grown into what can we do? How can having better conversations change the way, improve the quality of our government, and even possibly even increase the happiness of our nation? And I think it's basically a cultural approach. And I see it as occurring over three pathways or approaches, but there could be other ways of doing this. The first is a conversational approach. I think we need to change the way we're talking about these issues and thinking about these issues. The second is a locational approach. We tend to think of these big picture, global, theoretical issues, and we need to start thinking more locally and what we can do as individuals to change things. And third, we need to take a practical approach. What actually can we do instead of talking about it or giving a talk? What power do we have and how can we affect change? So, most people are familiar with the adage, don't talk about politics or religion in polite conversation. And I think as a nation, we're really good at that because when we talk about these things, it's never in polite conversation. And so the first step is to start to practice politics everywhere, at the dinner table, at a play date, at a cocktail party. The more we talk about these things, it's going to be challenging, but the better we're going to get at it. The second step, if you will, is to try and broaden our solutions menu. When we take a partisan approach, that's sort of a values-based approach, but it's very limited in terms of solutions. If you take a transpartisan approach, we're not giving up our values, but we're agreeing to look at the big picture and all of the multitude of solutions that fall underneath that. And obviously that's really hard when the volume of the conversation is going up and your blood pressure is going up, and so it's really important to practice real-time resilience. And so you can use your ABCDEs, or maybe you can do any other emotions management strategy that works for you, but it's going to take a lot of practice. And finally, if while you're having these conversations and you're struggling, if you could just take a step back and see, what do you look like right now? Do you look like a pundit on MSNBC or Fox News? Or do you look like, maybe it's less sexy, but your local public station of the mayor talking about what strategies we have available, our resources, how prepared we are to move forward? Second approach is to take a locational approach. There's a chapter in the Oxford University Handbook of Happiness, which I helped co-edit, that talks about the challenges of obtaining international, national, and even citywide happiness comparisons. It turns out the place where you live, your neighborhood, your street, is deeply affected by numerous factors that might not hold true in a neighborhood across the city or even a street a few places away. We also know from motivational theories like learned helplessness and self-efficacy that our perception of how well we're able to control our environment makes a difference between whether we're optimistic or depressed, successes or failures. So what can we do? If we focus on small wins these little tiny local changes that we can make, not only are we being more efficacious in our communities, but we're making our communities flourish. These little tiny wins over time could build up. It may be spread to a local town, maybe even spread across the country. I don't know. We'll see. Finally is a practical approach. It's great to talk about these things. We have a lot of people talking about what we should do next. We have people writing white papers, people talking at presentations like this, but what can we actually do and what power do we have? Most people think that our power is, at the voting booth. It's okay, it's a little bit effective, but that's not where our power lies, and that's kind of surprising to a lot of people. I work for a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization who, for the past 10 years, has been working to change the way people wield their power and influence by teaching them about power roles that they can play in their communities. In over a decade, citizens have passed more than 300 laws, just ordinary citizens, not mayors, not city councilors, just stay-at-home moms, teachers, whoever. The point is that when we think about issues, we tend to think really globally, but our power as individuals is not in DC. It's at home, it's in our town council, our city council, the school boards, the planning boards, our local party seats. If we can work our way into these, it's very simple to access them. Once we get there, I think we're going to have better conversations, we're going to change the culture, and over time I think we're going to move from rhetoric to solutions. That's my son, he's wicked excited about it, and I am too, and thanks for listening. Everyone knows, thanks to Chris Peterson, you have to have a baby or multiple babies in a presentation to make it interesting,
So far we're succeeding on that, and having Chris in multiple presentations as well. Questions for Amanda?
Sorry, I really rushed that. It's different because it's politics, but it's also, I think, totally appropriate.
Yeah, Pete. Scott, sorry. Where can we learn about creating citizen campaigns?
That's a really good question. Okay, so right now the Citizens Campaign where I work is solely in New Jersey, and we're moving into a cities approach, so we're working in all of the most challenging cities in New Jersey, like Jersey City, Camden, Newark. We're trying to branch out, and we're creating things called civic trusts, which is kind of in the process of moving forward, but it's not there yet. If you want to learn more, you're welcome to visit our website, thecitizenscampaign.org. Right now it's sort of Jersey-centric, but there are people who can help you, direct you. We have a whole law and policy task force who help people come up with their own solutions in their hometowns. If they have an issue, literally get these attorneys on it, and they do evidence-based research to find out what other people have done across the country that works. And we'll help you, well, not everyone, we try to focus now on the cities, but we can direct you to where you want to go.
Come to Asbury Park.
We actually have an initiative in Asbury Park coming up. We also do a lot of work in citizen journalism and teaching people how to blog about and use social media to change, tell everyone in their community. And so we're having a big event in Asbury Park next week. It's an invitation only. Sorry. We're proven, journalists, so.
Elena.
Whenever there are elections coming up, rule number one is don't talk about politics.
Yes.
Yes. Families not breaking down, and then trying to get.
Yeah. Just the question is when politics comes up, an election, anything, the gist is don't talk about it at all because it impacts your family, it impacts your work, so generally silence is the best practice. What can we do about it?
So this whole thing is a process. I don't think you should walk into work and be like, I have an idea about this. I think you have to use your best judgment, but I think, like I said, it's going to take change over probably a very long period of time. But maybe don't start right at work. Maybe start with your family, test out your conversational skills and your real-time resilience, and then move forward to maybe a work colleague at lunch or something. I'm not sure if I would go right into the workplace, though.
Oh, thank you so much, Amanda. Sherry is not up right next. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. Before we do, I just want to do a quick process check because we are about amazingly 5 minutes ahead of schedule, which is terrific. Which is just enough time to, if we wanted to, I know that part of the challenge with this format is that if you are a processor, it's really hard to think of the questions that you want to ask right now. So would anyone like to ask questions of any of the 5 people who have come before? Now that you've had a little bit of time to process? Yeah, Jess? So the question was how many cohorts of CAP have gone through, and you're on your 5th? 4th right now, and 3 have graduated. And 3 new ones starting in the spring. And there's even one in Finland. That's right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to ask the panelists to just come up while you ask that question, just so that we can grab microphones. You ask the question, I will repeat it. Teamwork, do you use the 360 in a team context?
I haven't yet, no. But instead, one of the charges of the person, my client, is to go back and enroll every person. and to say, I understand that you were willing to do this, and so let's talk about what that would look like. And so they have a formal process of engaging each one of their individuals. But I haven't used that 360 with team development.
Yeah.
Are you hired by the client or are you hired by the company that says,
Are you hired by the
I'm hired by-
client or are
I'm
you
hired-
hired by the individual?
I'm hired by the company usually, most of mine are, but it's usually not around issues. It's usually around you've got somebody that's moving up through the pipeline and you want them to be successful, so, yeah.
Any other questions for any of the panelists that you've heard so far? Okay, we're going to go on a break. The break is 15